until somebody gets it for me. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait for like Christmas or something. Just let's do that. Badonk.
Hey, we're live.
Hello.
Wow. Are we playing tonight's stream by ear then? Yeah. If suddenly everything goes dark, you guys keep talking. If we get hit by something big and everything goes dark, you guys just keep talking, keep yammering on.
Okay.
Okay, so I believe we are currently live. Oh, no one's turned off his light. Hang on, guys. What are you doing? Hang on. Is that your bed? Is that your bed? Oh. Is it your bed? What are you doing, butterfly? No, we're not.
Wait, we can't do anything Nintendo.
That's right. Darn it. They'll copyright strike us. Technically, we can't do anything Disney either, else I'd go mana, but
You could go wrap them out.
Raphael?
Yes. Wrap them out.
Oh boy. Anyways, where are we? Yeah, so we're doing. We're live. We're live. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
We're live.
We have been live.
Oh no. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, and thank you for joining us once again, the Monitors of Gaming. I am Kaiju. What the heck is wrong with BK? Also here with me is the Juggernaut of Jared's,
Hello.
the Necro of Nick's,
Hello.
the Mama of Bears,
Hi.
and the Tiny of Tricia's.
Hi.
Well, folks, we're slowly climbing that ladder. Some people don't know what's going on, but I have an evil plot ahead of me. An evil, vile, disgusting plot that these two are unfortunately already unraveled in, and they cannot get free. That's right, folks. Also, starting tomorrow, on the 1st of May, for a full year, we're going to be doing a donation drive, so I want to get this out of the way real quick. We're going to be doing a donation drive to a charity that I really am proud to say I can actually do for. St. Jude's Children's Hospital.
Yes.
It'll be a full year. You don't have to donate if you don't want to. Feel free to donate if you want to, though. Anything from a happy saying to a dollar. No, you don't have to do more than $1. Nobody start dumping like $600 into this. I don't need that. That blew my mind last time, and no. I see you there, Necro, with that sly look on your face, and I haven't told Deathgasm either, so there. He doesn't need to know.
Let's just DM him right now.
No. Anyway, so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to pick from an older game. Now, you guys might have heard of the Might and Magic series. Well, me and Necro used to have an obsession. I'm talking like deep down, play for hours on end, the Heroes of Might and Magic series, which was a strategy game.
Couple weeks ago, I lost about 10 hours to the game. I don't have an obsession, I swear.
So in Heroes of Might and Magic, you are your own kingdom. Kingdoms include things like the bright and shiny castle, which is full of the holy monks and angels, right down to the evil necropolis, which is carrying some necromancers and some bone dragons. He's holding his hand up. To the bright-eyed academy full of magic and wonder, and all those in between. So we decided, hey, what if...
Oh, by the way, just as a foreclosure, don't play 6, it sucks!
Yeah, six is horrible, yeah. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, oh yeah, so when you get your own kingdom, and it's just your own choice, you pick a location and you get your creatures, and they tend to be tier 1, aka the grind fest, the little guys that are going to be massacred, to the tier 7 that when they hit the field, shit's about to get real. And now it says we went live, even though we've been live. What the hell?
There's a dog butt.
Yes, there's a dog butt. So what we did is we each chose our own location. Now, not one of the pre-made locations, but one of the new locations. And we decided to design our own little teams. They will be from the tier 1s, aka the bread, butter, garlic, and salt, pepper, to the tier 7s, those exotic entrees that you can't even pronounce, and the French guy probably brings you over something about this big and charges you about $500 for it.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, about right. So, usually, I start
That's
these
why
off.
I normally just gut him and say, cook this, please.
So while normally I would start these things, I actually want to give this to a different person this time. I want to hand this one off to Necro Nick, as Necro Nick has designed his own. Necro, would you like me to begin reading off and you can describe?
Sure.
Okay, so folks, are we still going? Did we freeze up? No, still good.
We're good.
Cool.
We're good.
You're good. You're still fluent. You're
After the
a
last
tailwind,
one, I got nervous. So let's start off with Necro Nick, or as he calls himself, the leader of the Pirate Cove.
Now, just as a quick little thing, I based mine off of a DLC from a game I hold dear and near. It's Borderlands 2, and it's Captain Scarlet's DLC.
Okay, let me just delete that. I was going to say that. I'll just delete that part.
Oh.
Okay, that's
All
gone.
right.
Would you like to describe anything else I can delete real quick, so I don't have to waste my time? Just...
No.
So, Necro has chosen. Each group also has their own special abilities. It's their initiative perk, their initiative technique. For instance, Necro's necromancers can bring back lower stage creatures back to life, like take a bunch of dead woodland peasants and turn them into a bunch of skeletons. So with this one, Necro has chosen the Darude Sandstorm. I'm just kidding, it's just called Sandstorm. When you have to fight up against Necro, or one of his heroes, a Sandstorm happens, which lowers all opponents' movements by 1, and your initiative by 10, which basically means everything on his side is going to go first.
Yeah.
Which can be really annoying in a game about numbers and speed. I'm not saying it's going to do to all the creatures, but there are some creatures that are definitely going to have advantages. He also has an ability called the Badass Elements, which I think is also a band from My Little Pony. But, kidding, joking. I was asked to use that joke by a certain somebody. Necro, you know who it was.
Are they quite sandy?
Oh, no, but they are quite good with artwork. They're an artistic talent.
So it would be a liminal.
No! Oh, that's right. You haven't spoken to him for years. Would Zoa Renzo ring a bell?
Okay.
Yeah.
The other artist I know.
The other artist, yes. So Necro's
Sorry, when you say artist, I think sub first.
Right. Oh, he is an artist. Yeah. So what this brings down to is it brings us to this fun little part here. We have his tier 1. Now, once again, tier 1s are nothing to get stepped up about. They're nothing big. They're usually the cannon fodder, the gun fodder. We're all gonna die, Captain, betcha. So
Except when you go up against my skeletons, I just have too many mass numbers.
That's just a different story. So Necro's starting off with his tier 1. These are the loaders. Now, if you've played Borderlands 2, you know what loaders are. They're two-legged robots that usually have a weapon on their one arm, and they're robots. Yep. So these are his tier 1, and they're a ranged tier 1, which is very rare, but also very annoying. Especially since every one of them are going to have unlimited ammo, which means they can keep shooting at you. It means their attacks are going to be much, much weaker, however.
Yes.
So the tier 1 loaders are probably going to be yellow or pirate-themed colors. Neck will be able to create dozens of them at a time, and you will be attacked by a bunch of annoying little guys who are just going to shoot at you and just annoy you to no end. But they come with 2 possible tier upgrades. Now, here's what Magic 5 works, which we based off of, is that you can choose to have one of those, both of those. It's just they all suffer around one thing. For instance, if you have 22 units for tier 1, you can take from either one, and you have 22 total. With Necro, he starts off with his Hurley loaders. These have the ability to actually throw a barrel. I was looking into it. They can throw a barrel explosive once per encounter. But this is either an area effect, like a fireball spell. With Tower, once again, it'll be relatively weak. Or he can aim at towers and walls. Once again, not the best, but it would be really annoying, especially early game. And especially if he starts getting hundreds of thousands of them. His other are the pervy loaders. Or, some of my ex-friends, or some of my friends who I haven't spoken to in a while, who are ex-military and everything like that, who are very pervy. Basically, they lower the enemy's morale by 1. How morale works is every time you begin a battle, you're rolling a dice. If you're at full morale, it doesn't matter what you roll. At -1, -2, or -3, you get less of a chance. If you roll the negatives, you skip your turn. Next up on this list are his tier 2s. These are the Stalkers. In case you, once again, haven't played the game, Stalkers are a huge... I'd say it's a combination of a spike-throwing monster with wings and like a lion's head.
Yeah.
A manticore kind of creature, except they can turn invisible.
Yep.
So, Necro's first ability for these things is the stealth effect. They can turn stealth, and then they can run around, and then they come out of stealth whenever they attack. And their stealth's on a cooldown. Once again, an annoying enemy. Because from the very beginning, you have these little robots that are shooting pea shooters at you. And then you have these things that just go, hey, I'm Puff the Magic Dragon, and they're gone. They have no melee penalty, which means they can attack just as well in melee as they can from range. He has a lot of ranged units, in case you didn't know. Once again, these come into 2 varieties. The first variety is the Badass Stalkers. Yes, this means that anything with the Badass term gets the Badass elements. What this means is Necro can choose an element, turn their attacks to have that element on them, and make them immune to that element. So if he's going to go up and fight against, say, the Inferno, who has a lot of fire units, he can create a Fire Badass Stalker, which is now immune to those fire attacks. This thing comes with unlimited ammo because it keeps regrowing its tail spike, so that's pretty brutal. And then on the other hand, we have, I'm going to call it the Tinkle Stalker. It's based off of one of the mini-bosses, Tinkles. This thing has a really brutal ability called Pirate's Cove. And what it is basically, as long as there's Pirate Cove units alive on the field, as long as it's not the last one standing, it gains a boost to its attack and its defense stats, which makes it that much harder to take these things down. Of his early game enemies, this is the one I fear the most. Because even if he only has like 6 of them, because you get them per level, you know, or per week, he could just split his loaders up into different groups, and now you have to take down each individual loader group, because they're moved into groups. Or this thing gets the double, I'm going to say like a 50% boost to its attack and defense. Nasty. Next up are the Racks. Now, once again, in case you don't know it, I'm here to tell you. The Racks are a flying bird thing?
Yeah.
They're reptiles that have a spiked tail, and they're fucking annoying because you never hear them coming. The Racks have the ability of flying, which means they can go over walls. They can't be hurt by, landing on a landmine or anything, because they're not going to do that. And you can't hide behind your walls, because these things are going to fly. I'm also going to take the advantage of saying that these things are effing fast, so they have very high initiative and movement. First up is the Badass Rack. Once again, this is different. The regular Racks are melee. The Badass one, however, is ranged. So as a Badass, it can actually turn its range in any element, including poison for corrosive, for fire, for electrical, for EMP, etc. And it's just a nasty idea. And then, of course, he has the Roscoe Racks, which are based off of a boss. They have a ranged damage reduction, which means if you try to shoot these things, they take less damage. It's also strange. The Racks and Badass Racks are a small creature, but the Roscoe Racks are large. They take up a lot more room, and they also have a stunning strike, which means you hit them and they counterattack and they stun you for a round. So you gotta be careful with these things.
Yep.
Now we're reaching the 4th gear. At tier 4, you reach the creatures you're most likely to see for the advanced fights, and these things tend to be annoying as hell. Easily able to crush the earlier units, and strong enough to be able to fight off the stronger units. Necro is running around with a Bullymong. It's a 4-armed Yeti that can burst from the ground. That's already annoying enough. The Bullymongs have a ranged attack and no melee penalty, once again, reoccurring factor here. And they have the ability to throw anything. This means if they run into a log, which you can find on the fields, beehives, if you casted the landmine spell, they could run up to a landmine and hurl the landmine at you too. That's a bad thing, by the way. We don't want those happening. Once again, he has the Badass Bullymong, so we already know what that is. We also have the Grendel Bullymong. These are a large unit, once again, having a large unit in the groups. they have throw all elements, which means any weapon that they pick up and throw will hit the enemy for the strongest elemental weakness they have. So if he throws at, say, a fire creature, it would do ice damage to the fire creature, etc., etc. He also has a 75% resistance to elemental magic, which means if you try to cast elemental magic on him, chances are it probably won't work.
You can't go, oh, you just kinda fucked up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got hit by your sneeze. That was a meteor. Sneeze! Tier 5 brings another creature. This is the Sandman enemies. So Sandman enemies are, well, let's say it together, folks, a ranged character. So
Well, he does suffer from melee.
well, yeah, he doesn't have the melee immunity. So he has the ability of Big Sleeper Synthesis, which means as long as he's near a Big Sleeper enemy, coming soon, he takes 50% less damage. He can fire his ranged weapon 3 times, and he's just an annoyance. His Elite Sandman has the Elemental Ball ability, which is basically he can throw it's similar to the throw anything elemental from the Grendels. He can throw an elemental shot at you rather than shooting you 3 times. You can choose to shoot an elemental shot, which will always do the strongest amount of elemental damage to you. Once again, there are a lot of groups out there that have elemental weaknesses. Mine do too. My creatures have elemental weaknesses. I know that. He also has the Mirage Sandman, my personal favorite of the Sandman enemies. Every time it's his turn, a mirror image is created on the map. The mirror image does far less damage, but it's still there, and he can switch between them, so you won't know which one is him. Hey, Jug, are you tired?
No,
Oh, just making sure, buddy.
I'm more comfortable like this.
Oh, okay. You were slowly getting out of camera. I'm like, Juggernaut, don't leave the cameraman.
Oh, trust me, if I leave the camera, my chair's coming with me.
Okay, no, don't do that. No.
We will hear a cathode.
I don't want to hear a cathud in my back. I don't want to hear that, man, all right? Coming at tier 6, oh boy. These are the Big Sleepers. You might know them more as the, Okay. I believe you. Jump in the mud. He told me, I'm not going to sleep, believe me. I believe him. Just don't start meaning believe it. So, the Big Sleepers are a large construct who have a drill for one arm and a huge anchor in their others. They have the Sandman Synthesis, which means as long as they're near Sandman, they do 50% more damage. These are the only melee unit he has.
Yep.
This is it. It's like a Big Daddy wielding a hammer. They have the ability Earthquake Drill, which means they can slam their drill into the ground and cause damage to structures, walls, enemies around him. And he comes with 2 varieties. He comes with the Final Sleeper. This guy can actually throw his anchor with a chain attached to an enemy and drag them towards him, which will hurt when they come within contact of that drill he's about to hit them with. And then he has the Dirt Nappers, aka the Big Sleepers Dirt Nappers, which have the ability Anchors Away, which means they can throw 2 anchors. Which means not only can they target 2 different enemies, they can drag 2 different enemies towards them.
Reminds me of the paladin character, Makoa.
Makoa, you dare challenge Makoa? And then last but not least, his tier 7. This is just broken. So, I can't describe these guys to you. You'd have to look them up for me to describe them to you. He starts with Master G. Now, the thing is, most tier 7s are a large creature, but Master G is a small creature. He has the same health and damage as a large creature, but is a small creature, which means he's just susceptible to a lot more effects. He has the ability to summon Sandworm, which allows him to summon small, low-level burrowing enemies that just pop up and attack. He's a ranged character with no melee penalty. Again, his ranged attacks deal AoE, and he has the ability to get the badass elemental skill, which means he can change his elements as well. Not broken in the slightest. But if you don't like that, you can get one of his upgraded tiers. For instance, you can get Hyperius. Hyperius has the ability, he loses summon sandworms but gains summon loaders, which allows him to summon loaders, the tier 1s. I know what you're saying, that's not too bad, until you realize his second ability. It's called Loader Shield, which means as long as there is one loader enemy on the field, you cannot deal any damage to Hyperius. So he is completely immune to damage. And every time he attacks with his weapons, he does a tremor attack. Which means every time he hits, it damages the opponent's walls, which is super annoying. Finally, if you don't like Hyperius, well, how about you go for the Leviathan instead? The Leviathan comes back to the field with his Acidic Bite, which deals damage over time and will do bonus damage towards constructs, demons, and the undead, which I find ironic because he's usually the undead captain. He has the Tentacle Strike, which allows him to attack from a distance with his tentacles, which can then grab you and paralyze you for a round. He has the Acid Bomb, which is basically his Acid Bite in fireball form. And he has Summon Sandworm Trap instead of Summon Loader and Summon Sandworm, which allows him to literally create holes in the ground where if you step on them, a giant sandworm comes up and decides to take a couple of your units with it with an om nom nom. So Necro isn't by any means a broken character. Of his units, though, if I were going to steal one of them, I would definitely steal the Bullymongs. I just like them, I really do. The ability to run across the battlefield and cast a spell like Landmine, which allows you to put random landmines in the field, run up and grab it, and then hurl it like a fireball at your opponent. That's just broken right there. If I were going to pick one enemy I actually ridiculously hate, and I think they're the dumbest thing, and you guys will have the chance to do this on all of us too. Gotta be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the big sleepers. But it's only because Necro's entire army is ranged, and these guys are just like, I'm going to pull you closer to me. Which means I'm going to pull you closer to my allies as well.
True. But most of them have no melee penalty either, so...
Well, right, but here's the thing, like, in case you didn't know, enemies with no melee penalty still have ranged armor.
Right.
Which means every one of your ranged characters has shite armor, but can do damage from a distance. So it's kind of a good versus bad kind of deal.
Right.
You know, everyone's going to have a weakness, man. You can't be the invincible army.
Nope.
I mean, you could try. You can damn well try. Is there anything else you wanted to throw out there for the Pirates Cove?
Not really. I mean, I did mention, though, technically one special building I have is the upgrade that actually allows you to have all three of the tier 7s out at once, but you only get one of each per week.
Right, well that's not too bad. After all, remember what I said, range damage.
Right.
The biggest flaw of my Colossi, the tier 7 unit from my favorite faction in the game, which is the Academy, is they hit like Mack trucks from a distance. But the second you start hitting them, they fall apart really fast.
Right.
Where on the other hand, a behemoth, which is this giant walking thing that walks very slowly, if you hit that thing in melee, it's going to look at you, go, om nom nom, and just crush your soul. That's why we usually kill them from a range. That being said, Juggernaut, of his units, what do you think would be your favorite? What do you think would be your least favorite? And what would you want to steal?
I definitely like the Bullymong.
Bullymong.
Because one kind of fits in with my group.
Right, you're next, by the way. So yeah.
The one that I hate the most, I honestly would say I do not like his level 6s.
No. They're out of quarter for him, but still, I mean, we're not saying they're bad. We're not saying
Right.
Every single Academy unit, every single Elf unit, every single Dwarf unit, none of them are winners. Every one of those armies is going to have at least one, maybe two enemies in it that you're just like, I'm not even going to buy them. Did that remind you of your Wraiths, Necro?
I mean, I buy them, but I send them in for cannon fire.
Dude, you had 98 of them you were able to buy and protect your base with. Because you just didn't hire them. Don't you sit there and say, oh, I hire them.
Occasionally.
Occasionally, I'll go in there and grab one of those scythe wielding guys, but I'd rather have 50 stacks of skeletons going across the map. Um,
Mhm.
so once again, this is
Or
not a
two lynches.
this is not a pro versus con here. And if you could take one of his units, what would you want to take?
The bully monk.
All right,
I'd
so
want to take bully monk.
we can both see the bully monks are our top tiers. So
Mhm.
next up we have Juggernaut, who by the way is not based off a video game. No. It's based off of the 7 Deadly Sins and the 7 Glorious Virtues, I believe it is.
7 virtues.
So have you thought of a gimmick for these guys? Because I got a gimmick in case you didn't.
It depends on the cycle of the moon.
Ah, so you have a moon cycle effect. What do they get for
Mhm.
the moon cycles? Does it increase something, decrease something? What you got?
When it's from new moon to full moon, it's a decrease. When it's from full moon to new moon, it's an increase.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So imagine, if you will, you're going through the forest, and upon the mountainside you see a massive hillside manor. That's Jug, and you should probably turn around and run away very quickly. Because Jug is participating in the 7 Deadly Sins and Virtues in a unique way. So let's bring up the first unit. Necro is packing peons. That's right, but they're no peasants, they're peons. But do not pee on them, you will regret it. His peons, if you will, have an ability called Thick Hide, which reduces melee and range damage. So for a tier 1, you're going to only be doing about 50% of your regular damage to these things. That's pretty bad. You don't want to have to fight something that's going to be moving slowly at you. Did I mention slow? Because this is the sin of sloth. So up next is the Sloth Assassins. These things I hate. Straight up, I hate these things. So, the Sloth Assassin has a poisonous attack, they're melee. If he hits you with his melee attack, you're poisoned, which sucks. Now, they have a really strange ability. I changed it around a little. I call it the Deluge of Sloth. So what it is they are always considered to have the slow spell activated on them. Slow, in case you guys don't know, reduces their initiative and their movement speed. However, because of that, they are unaffected by any other negative debuff. So you can't poison them, you can't blind them, you can't confuse them. They're just slow.
You can't make them slower.
Right. Now, if you thought the poison's attack and being slow sucked, well, they can turn invisible until they strike. Unlike Necros, who can go back into stealth, Juggernaut's a one-time thing. However, these things get up on you and hit you with that poison attack, you're gonna regret life. On the other side, there's the Virtue, or the Diligent Assassin. So, the Diligent Assassin has a bleeding attack, which is similar to poison, but, no, it's bleeding, you just have to cure it a different way, is all it is. However, they are always considered to have the haste spell activated, and they're unaffected by any other form of negative effect, which means you can't slow them, you can't poison them, etc. Haste boosts their initiative and their movement range. So you have fast-moving, annoying little creatures who can bleed you. Wow, that's fun. In Tier 2, we come across some well-dressed mages. For starters, there's the Magician. He's just a ranged attacker. I know what you're thinking, but why doesn't he have these really cool abilities? Yeah, hold on a second and wait. Wait. The Peacock Mage, aka the Sin of... what was it? Pride. Is another ranged attacker. Its ranged attack has a 10% chance to cause blind, which will paralyze your creature. And it can cast the spells Weakness and Slow, which means it can weaken you and slow you down. This is annoying because there is no other Tier 2 spellcaster that I know of. But the Phoenix Mages, oh, they get the straight up stick the stick right up your butt and dangle you like a pole abilities. Ranged attackers, same effect, they have a 10% chance to cause you to be blinded. However, they can cast the spell Magic Missile, which is a long-range elemental spell. They also have the ability Rebirth, which is where they get really annoying. If you somehow kill off this monstrous stack, it will burst into flames, dealing you damage based on all the hit points of 80% of them, and then revive 20% of them. Yes, there's only 20% of them left, but whatever just took them down, or anything that you have that was close to them, is now taking 80% of their unit's health. Not fun. Not fun at all. At tier 3, we have a unique big battle axe, gladiator wearing, lion skin around the waist, wolf helmet looking Wrath soldiers. Or bear helmet, bear helmet.
Yep.
Well, Wrath soldiers are another one of these rather annoying things because they have a ability similar to the sloths. Instead of them having that, they have the controlled frenzy, which constantly makes them frenzied, but it makes them immune to all other negative status effects, so you can't poison them or blind them or anything. And it's controlled frenzy, so they can actually move around and do things. Frenzy boosts their attack damage by 20%, which is big. They also have unlimited retaliation, so every time you hit them, they have a chance to swing back and crush you. Not what you want on your field. These are Wrath soldiers, by the way, or Wrath Knights. It's a second effect. These guys get a bit more bonus damage, a 30% damage bonus, which means they hit even harder. So have the unlimited retaliation, so have the immunity to other controls. They have the ability to spread frenzy. They love sharing and caring. No, they don't. It's horrible. Run from these things. Don't let them touch you. Units that they touch have the frenzy spell cast on them, which boosts their attack by 20%. But unlike these guys, they will attack the nearest character, whether it's melee ally or melee enemy. Plus, as the Wrath Knight, you're immune to the effects of them targeting you. So they will not target you. So basically he walks up and goes, "I'm sharing!" and pimp slaps you. And your monster goes, "Oh, I'm so angry!" and then turns around and goes for your other units. This is great, except for a few things. For instance, what if they pimp slap one of your tier 6s? Or one of your tier 7s? Last thing Necro wants is Master G to suddenly crack his head backwards with a smile and go, "I'm gonna hurt every one of you!" And now you have that issue. Now this effect only lasts 2 turns, but that's 2 turns where Juggernaut's just created another ally. So to make up for that, he also has the Lion Soldier, which is the representation of another virtue. Juggernaut, virtue, or don't you remember?
Virtue.
What?
It's virtue, patience.
Patience. Now these guys still have the controlled frenzy at 20% bonus damage. However, they have this ability called Cleansing Aura. So anybody that's adjacent to them as they're walking by or standing there, aka an ally who's been poisoned, or somebody who's had boosted attack like Righteous Might, will have those effects taken away. In other words, this thing steals or takes away all the bad things from his allies and takes away all the good things from his enemies. It's not funny. Not nice creatures. And then you have his tier 4s.
Wait, do they still have the unlimited retaliation too?
Oh yes, all of them have unlimited retaliation. These are a lower level griffin that will make you not want to get close to them. These are what you're for, Necro. Kill these things with prejudice. Do not let one of these things smack one of your Sandmans. Or definitely don't let it smack a Master G. You will regret life. No lie. You have nothing in your team that's immune to frenzy. Nothing.
No.
So next up, he has the wolf-eared, bunny-tailed miscreants known as the Interrogators. These are his first demon type, which gives him plenty of immunities. But these things are even worse. So, first of all, they have the ability Seduction, which allows them to temporarily take control of one of your allies. So, between them and the Wrath Knights, you're losing teammates left and right. Except these guys don't have to be close. The downside is they can only take over tier 3, 2, and 1s. So, they can't take over a tier 7, thankfully. They also have a ranged attack that causes silence, so if they attack an enemy who can cast spells, they can no longer cast spells. Which is the downside for my army, but not for Necro, seeing as he has no spellcasters in his army.
Ooh.
Then he has his 2 evolutions.
You're still gonna get hurled things at you.
Oh yeah. You have the Lustful, and you have the Chastity Interrogators. These are what I really like about Juggernaut's army. The Lustful Interrogators, aka the ones that are going to suck the life from you, have the ability to Disrupt Magic. Which means anytime you cast a spell, hero, monster, etc., there's a 50% chance that they're going to double the spell's cost and keep you from casting it. Which basically means you pay twice the mana to cast a spell that you can't cast now. Annoying. That wasn't bad enough. The chastity interrogators are worse because they have the ability to steal mana from you and give it to their allies. Having one of each of these on the field would make Juggernaut a very mean and nasty character. Now, this will surprise you, but this next one is weird. It's called the Pigrilla. Imagine a gorilla.
I love my big gorilla.
Imagine a gorilla with pig hooves for back legs, razorback fur going down the back, pig head, tusks, and the rest of it's just mighty gorilla. In case you can't tell, these are melee attackers. His pig gorillas are big and they're nasty, and they are basically going to run full speed right at you. That's their specialty. Their charge attack allows them to run forward and smash into the first enemy or three that happen to be where they end up landing. See, it attacks in a pattern of 3 squares. So they're in the middle and the other square. So if they hit 3 of your guys standing next to each other, they're going to hit them all. They're also immune to traps and moats and can attack walls and things with their siege attack, which really is broken when they can just charge at it, do bonus damage because every square they move is 5% more damage, and then smash their skulls into your walls going, here's Johnny. But wait, it gets better. You have the Gluttony Pigrillas. If you thought the regular Pigrillas were annoying, just wait. These ones can heal. Their ability Scavenger allows them to eat any corpses on the battlefield to heal themselves and regenerate their units. So, if one of Necro's monsters, for instance, happens to go crazy and start killing people off, this thing can literally run up behind him and eat more of his units. Then there's the Temperance Pigrilla. This one has a special ability called All for One. No, this is not a My Hero Academy. No, we're not talking about that All for One.
I'd probably go more Three Musketeers.
The Temperance Pigrilla gets a bonus percentage to their defense and attack for every unit you have more than them. So if there's 10 of them and you have 1,000 tier 1s, they're going to kill those tier 1s, and you ain't going to do nothing about it. We have tier 6. Tier 6 is a strange unit. It's not a large. These are the hybrids of Envy and the hybrids of Charity. The hybrids are a flying unit, so yes, Juggernaut actually has a flying unit as well. They have no retaliation, which means every time they attack, you cannot attack back, which you could do normally. They have multi-attack. They can attack all enemies within the 3 squares around them. And they have Mirror Image. If that sounds familiar, it should, because Juggernaut coined it and Necro borrowed it. At the beginning of each of this unit's rounds, he creates another mirror image for himself, and then can choose to randomly go to one of those spots to be at. That's not fun. That's mean. They're flying as well. But to make these things even worse, they have the Envy version and the Charity version. The Envy version has Life Drain, which means he can kill your units and heal his, like a vampire would, and resurrect his buddies back from the dead. And then there's the interesting one, the Charity Hybrid. They don't have Life Drain. Instead, they have the Cyclone and Vacuum abilities. With Cyclone, they can blow all the enemies adjacent to them away 3 squares. That's pretty annoying. They can basically land in the middle of one of your units and go, hey, and then separate and throw you guys everywhere. Or, they have the Vacuum ability, which allows them to literally draw all enemies towards them, including if you're on the other side of a wall. So just imagine you're on the other side of the wall going, ha, they can't get me, and suddenly you're whipped over the wall down in front of them going, what happened?
Wendy, I can fly!
Yeah, Wendy, I can fly. And then
Wendy, I can die.
Last but not least, and this is no joke because Juggernaut and I had similar thoughts for this, but we never told each other.
Okay.
So these are whale dragons. The only way I can describe this in my imagination is to imagine a dragon with the body, tail, and massive head of a sperm whale. Just this lumbering wall of blubber that can somehow fly. So not are these things large, they have a steam breath, which will do fire or water damage, whichever you're weak to, over 2 squares. They can land on the ground and cause earthquakes. And they even have an ability called Tremor, which allows them to literally fly up and land, dealing damage to all enemies near them and knocking them back one square, as well as damaging walls. Now, the whale dragon's flaw is, of course, they're not very fast. They can't move very far, but they have absolute tons of health.
Because their wings are going, holy fuck, why are you making me do this shit?
I like to imagine they have like little butterfly wings. And just like picks them up and like it's like dum da 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 dum da 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 dum da da. And that the tremor is actually the wings just giving out and them falling. Now the funny thing about these guys is they may look dopey, but their two evolved forms, they are getting burned down by me if I see them on the field. I'm talking straight up death by opening fire. The Greed Dragon and the Generosity Dragon. And trust me, they do both. The Greed Dragon is as annoying as sin. When they start their turns, any adjacent enemy units near them have their health drained and restored to them. So, if you don't want to see these things coming back from the life, you do not park your enemies next to them, or you make sure you kill it before its next turn, or this thing's going to start bringing itself back to life. Now, normally, I'd like to say that this is obviously the more powerful and dangerous of the two. But I don't want to lie to you. And I'm not going to. Because trust me, the Generosity Dragon is definitely the I want to hurt it and burn it with fire type of creature. And he knows that. So, the Generosity Dragon has all the same things the Whale Dragon normally has, but instead of the Draining Aura, they have the Restoration Aura. What does Restoration Aura do? Well, at the beginning of his turn, all adjacent allies had their health restored, and if it restores more health than they have, it will restore fallen units.
What does this button do?
Exactly. So basically, he can land to a bunch of his guys you thought you killed off, and then bring them back to life to keep attacking you until you kill this oversized whale. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Oh god, he's got pictures of it. That's the horror. That's the horror that's going to land on you. Probably weighs about 200 tons too. I know this is not a shot at Juggernaut. Juggernaut knows that, but I mean, still, this thing is massive. It is massive and unfriendly. Now, Juggernaut.
Yes.
In the weirdest way, I want you to understand that the reason I've chosen this one is merely because I want to steal it from you so you can't use it against me.
Actually, I prefer this look.
Okay. Am I still coming in
It's
properly?
a different version of a whale dragon. It's loading.
I'm still coming in though, right?
But you were saying...
We just had a massive slowdown. Jug, are you okay? We just had a massive slowdown on your end, I think. Unless
I'm here.
Slowdown?
It was a slowdown on Jug's end there.
Okay. So I'm only doing this because if I can steal it from you, I'm going to steal it from you. Let me just see what this thing looks like. Ooh, an orca. Now that's a killer creature right there. I still like the first one though. I'm not gonna lie. I like Humpty Dumpty. So that being said, I am going to, if I could, first of all, favorite unit is also the one I'm going to steal. So just gonna throw that out there.
She's lurking.
Those are the Beast Warriors, aka the Wrath Knights. I don't want Juggernaut to have hold of the Wrath Knights. They are a broken creature. The ability to spread frenzy around the battlefield and be immune to them targeting you is not fun. And as a melee combatant, this guy's going to hit hard. Plus, because he has the same damn ability that the freaking Sloth does, you can't give him negative stats effects. Pretty buster. The unit of his, I think, is by far the one I would never want to fight or never want to see on the battlefield. Like, I wouldn't buy them. I personally wouldn't buy them. Would probably be his tier 2s. I like the Magician, the Peacock Mage, and the Phoenix Mage. I do. There's just they're just a ranged unit. You could easily have half an army of Sloth Assassins, half an army of Diligent Assassins, and just forget the Magicians exist and have fun. That's just my personal belief. Necro.
I gotta agree with you on the tier fours there.
Tier 3.
They're just too broken. Or tier three. They're too broken.
Okay, who would you steal? Who would you want from them? Or who would you not want? What do you think is like the worst here?
I wasn't thinking the tier fours.
You think the tier 4s?
Yeah.
You don't like the Mana Stealers?
Nah.
Okay. I mean, to each their own. I mean, his entire army doesn't consist of anything that uses spells, so it wouldn't do him any good to have them help him either.
No.
So, Juggernaut, is there anything you want to say real quick about the Hillside Army?
Not really.
Well, I mean, at least you guys have nice places. Necro's stunning out there in a big old pirate ship. Juggernaut has a hillside manor, and I have the Forgotten Sewers. A location found that was believed to be home of a future species, or a advanced species, or perhaps a forgotten species. Hide. So, the Forgotten Sewers has a gimmick. We always do. The gimmick is called scavenging, and as we move around the map, we will randomly end a turn and randomly find some goods, maybe a few dollars, maybe some wood, maybe even a jewel every now and then. And on rare occasions, as you can level up the gimmick, you can even find like basic relics and intermediate relics too. But that's not why we're here. We're here to be annoying. We're here to see what I have packing in the sewer. But before we get to the sewer, there is one thing I would like to bring up. So, when you go to attack somebody's kingdom, they have tower systems. And these tower systems tend to be guarded by one of their ranged units. So, for instance, Juggernaut would probably have the interrogators up there. Necro would probably have insert creature here that isn't the big daddy wannabe. But for me, mine are different. Mine are actually a crystal, and what they do is they will either cast a buffing spell on my units or a debuffing spell on your units each turn. Which means they can poison you, slow you, frenzy you, except for most of Juggernaut's army who's immune to that crap. Or even cast a random spell. That's it. That's what they do. I just wanted to bring that up before I start talking about my lukewarm army compared to these two. So I want you guys to picture, if you will, you find these sewers. But they don't stink. It's strange. Pure water is coming out of them. You can see a bunch of polluted water going from the top, but it's pure water. Pure as you ever drank. You decide to go and investigate. And as you're going through the sewers, you hear something. Ahead of you, you see a strange creature. It's sitting on two legs. It turns and looks at you with a little weird noise. You go to say something. Its mouth opens up, and it's just a wall of sharp, needle-like teeth. It screams and runs away. These are the Plague Swine. My Plague Swine are my Tier 1 unit. And, surprisingly, they have no melee penalty. No, I'm not stealing from Necro. They also have a ranged attack. They go and spit a little needle at you. That's it. Their first evolution, if you want to call it an evolution, is the Drainer Swine. And they have Life Drain, which is rather annoying, but when you're a creature that has like 12 health, you're not really getting much back from it. It's the Hook Swine that we have to be careful of. The Hook Swine has an ability similar to Necro's Anchors Away. I can literally grab a unit and pull it towards me. This is a Tier 1 unit. Not fun. As you progress, you notice the water is very clean down these thoroughfares. And you swear you saw something looking at you from the water. It pulls itself under and leaves no ripples. It does it a few times. You swear it's like a panther or something. Then a massive panther, long, serpent-like tail, leaps out at you and tackles the Hook Swine sneaking up on you. It murders the poor creature and then drags it into the water, leaving nothing behind. No blood, no ripple, no nothing. These are my Blockovs. These are actually, in case you guys didn't know, all of my creatures are going to be based off of myths of the sewers, legends of the sewers, or cryptids of the sewers, and the Blockov is one of them. This massive panther is a large creature No, he's not. He just looks large. Their special ability is called Submerging Strike. They disappear into the land, into the water, etc., pop out, and attack. Then they slink back in. This means they kind of have a teleport attack. Its evolved forms are the Blitzbakov and the Plaguebakov. The Blitzbakov strikes and casts the Weaken spell on the opponent, which lowers your physical attack damage. Which means he can stay out of reach of, say, oh, I don't know, a certain lion knight coming bearing down at me, trying to spread frenzy, and weaken him. Except I can't weaken him. I also have the Plaguebakov, which instead of Weakening Strike, has Plague Strike, which causes you to become poisoned, which won't work. So as you can see...
Do on him.
What?
What you can't do on him.
No, I can't do on him, which is where the problems come in. Now, further in, you come to what many know as a subway station. And there you see these strange women. They're wearing elegant gowns. They have their faces covered by a cloth. And you notice two things. One, they have very long rat-like tails. The second one is they have a pair of big, giant rat ears. These are once again based off of another cryptid. It's called the Rat Queen, but I've changed them to become the Rattling Clerics. It's actually, I looked this up, it's actually pretty cool. So the Rattling Clerics have the ability to scavenge, similar to Juggernaut's big monkey gorilla, the pig gorillas. They are immune to ranged attacks. Sorry, Necro, you're gonna have to do something with these guys. And no, I didn't add that later. That was already there. Oh no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong creature. Sorry. Blah, 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 blah. Rattling Clerics are casters. They can cast Regeneration, healing people over time, Decay, poison people at a time at a basic caster level. There are 4 basic caster levels. There's I have no caster level, so I cast like crap. I am a basic caster, so I can cast weak. I'm an intermediate caster, so I can cast intermediately. Or I am Death Upon Worlds, the master caster. They're basic. They have a ranged attack, and they are mirthful. Basically what that does is my army has +2 morale and +2 to luck. Which makes us rather annoying. From the Rattling Cleric.
Then they kill Basil.
Okay, why are you going to kill Basil?
Uh,
Oh, okay, a cryptid themed. Hey, that's just. Is he reading? Is he listening to us? Basil, are you listening to us? That's a cryptid themed mini
I'm
golf course.
listening.
That's a cryptid based mini golf. I'm talking about cryptids. And he's talking about a cryptid based mini
I'm
golf.
listening.
Is he
So,
listening? Well?
okay, hang on. So it's the other chat that I have him in. He's like, Sydney killed me. I'm doomed. I don't know if I have to shit or fart.
Get on the toilet
Wow.
regardless. Get on the toilet regardless.
I'm as confused as, normally when he tells a fucking story.
Yep. So my Rattling Clerics bring happiness and joy to my guys, and can throw some basic spells at you. There are 2 forms of the Rattling Princess and the Rattling Seer. The Rattling Princess is a caster who can cast Regeneration, Endurance, which boosts your defense, and Cleansing, which is basically like Juggernaut's cleansing aura from his one character. Takes away negative things from my guys and positive things from yours. She's also still a ranged character, but has the ability Magic Mirror. So basically, whenever someone tries to cast a spell, there's a 50% chance that it will instead target one of their units. And if they're trying to cast a basic healing or buffing spell, it will instead target one of my units. The Rattling Seer is where you don't want me to be. The Rattling Seer has the spell Decay, Poison, Vulnerability, weakens your defense, and Slow, which slows you. Except for Juggernaut's crap on it. But anyways, her special ability is called Sorrowful, which gives all of my opponents -2 morale and luck. Which means your army is much less likely to have a turn, or be able to actually hit above 1 damage per unit. She also has Magic Mirror. And you go further in, bash them as they give you kind of
Hang on. So I gotta ask, when did your creatures decide to have a fucking mini golf cart course?
They didn't! This is just him cheating and he knows it. I'm waiting for him to pop up with a message in live chat. That's what I'm waiting on. to come is my sewer beasts. These creatures look like a combination of a frog with a lot of teeth in its mouth. They're covered with pustules, sacs, and have white fur that seems to burn in the sunlight. No, they're not a demon. No. And no, they're not undead. They're a large creature that is immune to ranged damage. These guys are the ones I was reading.
Okay.
They also pack the scavenger ability. Why are they immune to ranged damage, you might be asking? Because their skin's very bulbousy. They said if they threw rocks at it, it just bounced and flew back at them. Once again, this is based off of lore, so I didn't really do much here. They also have regeneration, which heals them over time, and scavenger to further heal them. In short, these guys will eat anything. They're like me. They're the cryptid version of Kaiju K. And they come in two new varieties, the fluffy and the unfluffy. The unfluffy is called the concrete beast. And the fluffy is called the bioluminescent beast. They have the same effects, except the concrete beast is much, much thicker, heavier health, and has unlimited counterattacks. The bioluminescent one, well, it has something called confusion aura. An enemy that starts or ends their turn next to this creature will be hit by the confusion spell. This gives them a 25% chance to attack an ally, a 25% chance to do nothing, a 25% chance to run away, or a 25% chance to actually be controllable. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. From there we get the Forgotten Mutant. Think of these as a chimera, except instead of having a lion's head, they have a rat's head. Isn't that great? These are large flying type enemies that have the acid breath ability, which of course deals damage and causes rot, which affects undead and constructs, not Juggernaut's units. It also has regeneration. Running theme, a lot of my creatures have regeneration. Then there's the Forgotten Sage Mutant and the Swarming Sage Mutant. These are casters. They have flying, large, acidic breath regeneration, whereas the Mutant Sage can cast the Lightning Bolt, Frostbolt, or Fireball spells, and the Swarming Sage Mutant can cast Wasp Swarm, Summon Hive, or Fire Traps, which are just great except against Necro's Bullymongs, who will pick up the summoned hives and fire traps and whip them at 90 miles per hour. I'm not looking forward to that. From there, you begin walking down a hallway and you just feel like all of a sudden. You see this massive creature. It looks like an alligator standing on its hind legs. As it walks closer to you, you hear this whispering. It's in your head. It's not coming from your ears, it's in your head. You hear this maddening whisper. And as it gets closer, you realize that it has mouths all over its arms, randomly popping up on its neck, on its chest, on its legs, of just teeth. And it just looks at you as it walks by. But you can still hear this murmuring in your head, and no matter how much you try to cover your head, it doesn't go away. These are the Beholder Drakes. Beholder Drakes are a non-large creature. They have the ability Gibbering Aura. Enemies who start within 2 tiles gain -3 luck and -3 morale for 3 turns. So don't start near these guys. Shoot them dead. Necro. Right. Juggernaut.
Yeah.
They also have regeneration. No, I'm just kidding. They have the Curse Fangs, where whenever they strike an enemy in melee, including counterattacks, they're hit with a level 1 through 3 curse at random, which will affect Necro, but not much of Juggernauts. And they have their Steel Scales, which causes all damage that they would take to be reduced by 35%. And just to be hellish, the Many Mouths, which allows them to attack everything around them that isn't an ally. If you thought that was bad, they also have 2 evolved forms, the Beholder Drake Lord and the Beholder Drake Bishop. The Drake Lord comes with everything that the Beholder Drake did, except their ability is called Diamond Scales. So it reduces all damage they would take by 70%. So they're really hard to kill. The Bishops, however, these are the ones that nobody's gonna like. Nobody's gonna like these. These are gonna be burned down to the stake. Let me tell you, I know already. Possessing every ability that the Beholder Drake had, not the Beholder Drake Lord, they have the ability to, instead of whispering horrible messages to you that curse you, they have the Whispering Aura. Allies within 2 tiles are granted random level 1 through 3 blessings or healed at the start of each round that they stay within range. These guys can also attack everything around them, bite, scratch, and are very hard to kill. But they're not even my tier 7! You finally reach it. You can finally see the town, the ruins, the village where I am lurking. And you see this ocean. But you realize it's not an ocean. It's a massive pool of purified water. You realize that as you've gone through here, you've gone through all the locations where the water is actually being purified by magic. And you look into the pool and you see nothing. I've been beguiled, I say beguiled, I mean beguiled. Do they shine bright like a diamond? Oh, actually, yeah, I guess they would. Now, as you approach this bottomless, and I do have it marked down as the bottomless reservoir, you see something. And from a distance, it looks like a guppy. It's small until you realize just how deep in the water this thing is. As it gets close to the surface, you realize that it is massive. It is a very hard to describe creature, but your best description would be to describe it as a rodent, and mantis, and a whale combined. Yes, this is another whale. Mine came first, though. So there, yeah. Of course, you don't want these things invading your home base. These are the whale roaches. Yeah. Imagine a roach with the size of a blue whale. Almost like,
Your imagination.
I got it from a picture that's actually based on lore. Somebody else did this. This is a cryptid. This is a cryptid from freaking the bays around New Jersey. I made up one creature in this entire army.
I don't care, man. Your imagination.
Yeah, I've seen what your imagination can do. I don't want to hear about scary. Yeah, this is actually based off of a New Jersey cryptid. All while singing Baby Booga. No, they're singing Baby Shark. Baby Shark, do, Baby Shark. So this is my only siege attacker. So you can already tell it's big. The creatures are large, of course, and they have the terrifying aura, which if you thought my goal was to lower your luck and morale, it is. Enemies nearby have their luck and morale lowered to -4, which is the lowest it can get. It's bad. That's got it. On top of that, they're siege attackers, as I said, and they have regurgitate. You remember my plague swine from the very beginning? Well, every time these things take any amount of health damage, they regurgitate or summon that much in health of plague swine. You know, those little annoying creatures from the beginning that have no melee penalty and they have ranged attacks, yeah, those get summoned up every time you damage this guy. But they also have Swallow Whole. And Juggernaut, this is an ability that everyone's going to hate, including you.
Okay.
So basically, every time these guys kill something in melee, which is the only way they can fight, they swallow them whole. In other words, they don't leave any bodies behind for you to be able to resurrect. So if they kill, let's use Necro as an example. If his skeleton army has 100 skeletons, and this creature eats 50 of them, he can only ever bring back the 50 that are remaining. On top of that, for the next 3 turns, any passive skills those creatures had, it now has. Which includes things like, oh, I don't know, spreading frenzy and being immune to frenzy units? Or perhaps badass elements. They don't steal active or attack base, so no, they don't get ranged attacks or your ability to create earthquakes from landing on things. They don't get that. Just the passive abilities. And if you thought that was bad, remember, that's just the original model. There's 2 more. The Greater Whale Roach and the Calling Whale Roach. So what's different about these guys? Well, A lot.
One sucks and one is awesome, but sucks even worse.
Kind of.
Hmm.
The greater whale roach, whenever it's damaged, it drops drainer swine instead of the regular plague swine. So that can be kind of annoying. But it also has the ability Guardian Spirit. Allies that are within 2 spaces of it are unaffected by enemy magic and take 50% less damage, including range damage. So basically, as long as he's standing there and they're within 2 squares of him, they're just gonna take less damage. He's just gonna sit there smiling at you. The calling whale, however, summons hook swines instead of drainer swines with its regurgitate ability. And it's the one you guys are gonna burn with fire. I already know. Because it has the ability to summon a random tier 1 through 4 unit equal to its own health total each round. That means that it can summon up to its maximum health of Plague Swine, Drainer Swine, Hook Swine, Bokovs, Blitz Bokovs, Plague Bokovs, Rattling Clerics, Rattling Princesses, Rattling Seers, Sewer Beasts, Concrete Beasts, or Bioluminescent Beasts each turn. And seeing as I follow the same level of thought as Juggernaut does, imagine these guys have a ton of health. So each turn I'm bringing a ton of allies back. But these allies, whenever they're spawned, or any allies who are within 2 squares of him happen to start their turns, they are buffed with a buffing spell, level 1 through 3. So, who wants to step into the sewer?
No.
Me.
Mom Bear. My idea was that we took the sewer and we changed it from a dirt-covered place to a livable place where we could purify water for everybody. So basically, all the water that comes from us to the... Okay, I see you. All of the water that comes from this location is actually purified to the greatest point. No dirty water coming from us because it goes through several purifications points. Ironically, each one of those purification locations is where I summon my creatures from. The drained pipes to the stagnant water grates, the purified pools to the hidden arboretum. Try saying that 3 times fast. From the subway cathedral to the purified springs, from the raw water settling ponds to the purification filters, to the underground laboratory to the spawning pods, finally to the endless tunnels and the forgotten ritual site, which then dumps out to the bottomless reservoirs onto the Silicone Beach.
Can anyone say napalm?
You could, but it's just a giant area full of metal and water. Although napalm doesn't get put out in the water. In case you're wondering, my guys are all weak to electrical damage. That's our elemental weakness. Every one of them is weak to electrical damage.
And napalm.
Well, I think we're all pretty much screwed if we get hit by napalm. Same thing if we're hit with phosphorus, Saturnite, that kind of stuff.
I mean, you would just spread it throughout your kingdom, though.
You got a point. It would just be going everywhere. We're just going to dump it
Yeah.
in the river up here.
All you need are multiple pieces of lithium.
Listen, I didn't say my army was immune. I didn't say we were weak. I didn't say we were strong. I just said what we are. So, unfortunately, I hate this part, but I'm thinking we're going to have to go through the same cup of tea that we went through with you two. Which one do you like? Which one would you steal? And which one do you hate?
Okay, so for me, I love your blitz attackers, teleporting you fucktards. I do like them.
I stole that ability from one of the creatures. I stole it. That same ability.
The one this will be a combination between the one I hate and I'm gonna steal so you don't have it, and that's your fucking whales, you fucking whore. Especially those goddamn motherfucking calm ones.
Thank you.
What's wrong with me having an army that keeps getting larger and larger?
No.
I do that, not you.
You didn't do it this time. I stole it fair and square. Yuck.
I'm gonna go a little differently.
Okay.
I would steal your alligators.
Oh, you like the beholder drakes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I hate your whale. I hate your fucking whale.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I look at my whale and your whale and realize we are quite different. My whales are very defensive. Your whales cause earthquakes.
And if you combine them, they become Captain Planet.
Yeah, seriously. So
No, they destroy the planet.
all of my creatures, with the exception of one, are high health, high defense, low attack. The only one that's different is the Bagaris and their ability to teleport. They're all attack, no defense. My guys are assigned to survive. If you haven't noticed, all my casters can regenerate. All my monsters have some form of regeneration. We are going to outlast you. That's our job. Now, does my army have flaws? Oh, you better believe my armies have flaws. I wish I was half as offensive as Juggernaut. And I wish I had 3 times as much ammunition as Necro. It's brutal. 6 out of 7 of Necro's units are ranged.
Yep.
I have a unit who can fight against them. A unit. And it's the slowest unit in my army. It moves like 3 squares per round. It's a fat frog monster. It's all it is. It has to reach Necro in order to damage him. All Necro has
And mind you, if you're fighting in my area, or, you know,
Oh, he's
or
already
if
going
I...
last. He's already going last for your Sandstorm. He's already going last. And he's not a siege attacker, so he's going to hit that wall and be like, could you come out here so I can eat you?
No.
You killed all my support, so can you come out here, please?
No.
If I was going to take on
But
either
you-
army, I'd take on Necro's army, though. If we're going to take on either of your 2 armies, it would be Necro. Why Necro? One reason. I don't have to with those Wrath Knights.
Yep.
With unlimited retaliation and the ability to literally spread frenzy, a tier 4 spell, that's just busted.
Yep.
They're going to break armies. Those things would destroy entire armies. I don't want to screw with them. As for Necro, if he happens to get his scouting skill to max, he can see traps in the ground, which means all of my abilities to lay down fire traps, landmines, beehives, etc., mean that his bullymongs have the ability to throw more crap at me. I don't need that. I already have to deal with Master G knocking on my door and saying, little pig, let me in. His perv robots I can kind of deal with. His racks are a minor threat, but he gets flying a lot earlier than the 2 of us, so that's a big problem. We have to be careful of that. Because if Necro gets his flying units in, we are not going to handle it very well. They can go over barriers. That means your walls. His stalkers can turn invisible and pick off my weaker units. Not cool. His bullymongs are throwing everything I throw at them back. Sandman can just focus fire us down if we're not careful. The big sleepers, they're heavy duty. They're going to tear down my walls creatures, so they're going to be annoying. Plus they're constructs. And his Master G Hyperius, maybe? Hyperius. Hyperius and Leviathan are literally just going to send an army after me if I can't stop them in time. This being said, let's go to the other side of the horrible coin, to the hillside. We have Necro, or where we have Juggernaut, whose very first units are resistant to everything you throw at them. 50% less damage from melee, 50% less damage from range, 50% less damage from spells. You throw everything you have at these guys, they're like, I'm going to get you. Then the fact that they're one of 2 units that have permanently, you can't cast negative spells on us, and most of my units are designed to cast negative spells. That's already done. He's got his level 2 ranged spell casters, which are just going to f with my army if I can't reach them in time. Or he might be a suicidal guy and cast Teleport as Phoenix. May just summon him in the middle of my army and then explode. Like some Allah Akbar motherfucker. The less I talk about his Beast Warrior groups, the better. Freaking spread frenzy my ass. I shouldn't have given him the ability. His interrogators are annoying. And their ability to silence sucks most because if you haven't noticed, I have a lot of casters in my army. Which means these guys are going to screw with me real quick. The less that's said about Pig Gorillas, the better. His hybrids are just going to annoy the hell out of me, and his whale dragons are, in fact, the thing of Lucifer. Splat! Wall goes splash. Honey, I'm home! With the pig grill still stuck in the wall. So we have Juggernaut who wants to fight you in your base. And we have Necro who wants to fight you from a distance. And what am
Yep.
I?
You want to be left alone?
I'm annoying. That's who I am. I can't defeat you guys with... I can't get close enough to Necro to be able to do physical damage with most of my units. And I can't stay away from Juggernaut long enough to be able to actually do official damage to him. My guys are just offensively stupid. But we are defensively monsters, so we're just going to sit there going, alright. Alright. Is that it? Nope. Still coming at me? Still coming? Okay, I'll wait. Stop punching me in the stomach, you hit like a bitch. That's all we got. Juggernaut literally has 2 creatures in his army that ignore 99% of the stuff I do. His tier 1 and his tier 3. The tier 3...
Except for regen.
Except for regen. Yeah, we can keep regenerating. But he can also go and say, I'm going to tap your monster and it's going to do frenzy. No. Me not like it. You guys are both threats in your own regards. So kudos to Udos for that amazing, fun, well thought out little thing.
Yep.
And if we were in a fight, in a war, in a zone, in a war zone, in a fight in a war zone, I would be dead first. I would, and then it would just be Necro and Juggernaut beating the hell out of each other. And the only thing Necro has to worry about is Juggernaut's freaking knights, which I'm pretty sure Necro's going to just turn all cannons on and fire. While Juggernaut's fat whale walks over and knocks the wall down on him. Now, this has been fun, guys. It literally has been a blast. But there is something I have to talk about.
I look at my pig grill and say, go for the quarterback. Which one's the quarterback? The one behind the wall.
Go for the quarterback. Where is he? He's hiding behind the wall. Through the wall. Now, I have an interesting one for you guys. I'm going to let you guys pick. I hope you guys are ready. Because you have 2 choices.
Okay.
So the next little experiment I have involves us stepping away from armies for just a little bit.
Okay.
Your choices are make a character class for Grim Dawn or make a character for Don't Starve.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you guys that in 2 weeks, I will announce why I've done all this. Whichever one you guys pick now, we will do next Tuesday, and the following one will be the last Tuesday. However, looking up at this wonderful calendar of death here, that means on the 21st, on the 14th, I will announce the horror that's going to be a multi-part series for us. So let me ask you, do you want to create some kind of Grim Dawn character? Or do you want to create a Don't Starve character? The rules are simple for both. A Don't Starve character, create a character from Don't Starve, that has abilities similar to Don't Starve. You can go look it up if you don't know what it is. And build a character that will be fun to play as. Fun to play as. Once again, there's no losers in this. This is just imaginations, guys. So far, I feel like the biggest loser today. After seeing what you guys did. Remember, I finished my army first, so by the rules, I'm not allowed to go back and change them. And I didn't. But to find out, it looked basically like Necro was basically trying to find every way to screw me over, and Juggernaut was stealing ideas.
I wasn't stealing ideas.
Whales! Where did
How
the
could I
whale come from?
how could I steal an idea if I had no idea what you were
You
doing?
were watching me.
Same here.
You were watching me too.
No.
There's an extra camera in here somewhere.
I don't see any cameras around.
I know there's one in here. Ow! Poke myself in the eye.
not like I have control of your Wi-Fi or anything.
Is that why it's always skipping? Jack, come clean.
Nope.
Oh.
No, I mean, if you want to download any desk, I mean, if you're happy at it, never mind.
Anyways. Now, when I mean a character from Grim Dawn, I mean just a slip of a character. Like how we have the Pyromancer. You don't have to design every ability if you don't want to. You can design every ability if you want to. I really don't care. Just have fun. If you don't starve, just bring yourself into a bit of fun and design a character that, I don't know, makes My Little Ponies that help you or detonates the ground or something. Just make it a fun character. Oh, come on. We literally have a character in Don't Starve that creates balloon animals.
Okay.
We do. His name's Wilson. No, not Wilson. What's his name? He's the mime.
Okay.
So, gentlemen, which do you want to do first?
I mean, I'm for Don't Starve together.
Well, yeah.
Okay, then it will go Don't Starve together. Then it will go Grim Dawn. And then it will go something else.
I know what that something else is, sir.
Oh,
I don't.
are you talking about 3.5?
Oh, I was thinking that you were talking about Command and Conquer. But you're gonna lead into D&D. I see.
Oh no, you're wrong on both.
Oh.
Although I'd say you were closer with Command and Conquer. Which is one I could add if you want.
Oh, you're going Warhammer.
40K, brother. And you just gave me an idea.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no. Necro. Why?
You stop me before I start talking, Jug.
You said you knew what it was, and you put your own foot in your mouth.
Hey, you could have stopped me at any point there.
Is this picking on somebody for not knowing it was going to happen? Now, I may have altered our plan. Dare not make me alter it again. So next week we will have 3 Don't Starve characters, maybe more, because Don't Starve is actually something I could see Mama Bear being part of, and I could definitely see other people being part of. And then after that, well, it was going to be Grim Dawn. But I'm feeling like commanding and conquering a little. And then, to piss off every fan on the planet, anyone who ever has watched, played, been part of, or read the lore of Warhammer 40K, that's right, on the 21st, we will be bringing forth our beginning, because we can't do all of it at once. This would be like a 12-hour freaking live stream.
Well, we kind of have to redo our stuff because, let's face it, last time we did Warhammer 40K, there were 4 of us. There are now 3 of us.
Yeah, and we also had some ridiculous ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Mama Bear doesn't join in for the 40K. She frightens me.
I do.
She frightens me.
Mama Bear joining Warhammer 40K.
So we might have 5 people because I know K-Man's a big fan of the 40K series.
Yeah, and the last time we did it, we had K-Man with us.
Doing the most ridiculous classes in the game. But until next time, folks, I am that Kaiju K.
I'm Necro Nick.
I'm Juggernaut Jared.
I'm Mama Bear.
She's Tiny Trisha, and for Deathgasm and K-Man and all the others, have yourselves a great night, a great day. We'll see you in the future, everybody.